Siman Tes Sif Yud Ches. If somebody wants to replace his older strings of tzitzis with newer and nicer strings of tzitzis, is that mutter, or is that a problem because since you already have a technically 100% kosher baguette and just you want to add and to be nicer, maybe there's some sort of bizayin if you're by removing the older tzitzis. So on this, the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch says that it's mutter. Not only is it mutter, he says, but it's encouraged. Of course, you want to make your tzitzis even nicer, make your baguette nicer, whatever you want to do to make it nicer, that's better. Even though you're going to be having to remove the older tzitzis, he says that's okay, as long as you make sure that with the older tzitzis that you're taking off, you don't do anything that's a bizayin for them. Don't throw them out, which we're about to learn in Sif Yud Tes. So in Sif Yud Tes, he says even tzitzis that are pasul, or that they cut off from the baguette, and now what are you supposed to do with this tzitzis? So he says you should not throw it out. Don't throw it out in the garbage. That's a bizayin. So he says what you should do is you should either put it in shemis, or what people like to do is use it as a bookmark. You open up a sefer and use it as a bookmark. Now I don't think, this is my own thought, I know it doesn't sound to me like you should just throw it in a sefer, and that way, it's in a sefer instead of in the garbage. It sounds like he's saying that you should use it as a mitzvah. So if you're using it as your bookmark when you're learning, then that's a mitzvah. But just to throw it in some siddur or some sefer you're never going to open again, I don't know if that's really what his intention is. I'll go upon him. What he does say is that there is this idea of putting the tzitzis into a sefer, and that way it's more of a minig kavod and not a minig bizayin. He says also a talus that became old and you want to replace the talus, and now what are you supposed to do with this talus? Also make sure, he says, not to use it for anything that's a ganai, anything that's a bizayin. You should also make sure that goes to shemis, or that it's at least kept in a way that there's no bizayin.